The space station Helion 9 floated quietly above a dying star. Its metal walls groaned as if they could feel the heat from below. Inside the maintenance section, a young human worker named Ethan Cole checked the daily work list glowing on his holopad. Most jobs were routine: cleaning air ducts, repairing panels, but one name flashed red: Chamber of Lady Jura, private quarters. Hazard level maximum. Everyone in the maintenance team avoided that line. Lady Jura was a high-ranking alien diplomat from a powerful species called the Thrixans. People said her personal chamber was filled with forbidden technology and something worse: a pet that could kill with a single touch. Ethan needed the money. His younger sister back on Earth was sick, and hospital bills didn't care about danger warnings. So when the supervisor asked, "Any volunteers?" Ethan raised his hand. The room went silent. "Kid, are you crazy?" one worker whispered. "No one goes in there and comes out clean." Ethan forced a nervous smile. "Someone's got to do it." The elevator hummed as it carried him up to the top deck. The air grew colder, the lights dimmer. The hall leading to Lady Jura's chamber looked more like a temple than a room. Walls covered in blue crystal veins that pulsed with alien light. 2 Thrixan guards stood outside. Their tall, insect-like bodies shimmered with metallic scales. One of them clicked in a low voice. "You are the cleaner, human?" "Yes, sir," Ethan said, trying to sound calm. "Do not touch the creature," the guard hissed. "If it touches you, pray your gods answer." The heavy crystal door slid open, releasing a wave of sweet metallic air. Ethan stepped inside. The chamber glowed softly like the inside of a dream. Floating lights drifted above pools of silver mist. Strange shapes moved under the floor, as if something alive was crawling beneath the glass. At the center stood a large basin filled with dark fluid that reflected the room like black glass. Lady Jura herself stood nearby, tall, elegant, and terrifying. Her skin shimmered like wet stone, and her eyes were as bright as 2 small suns. "You are the human," she said in a slow, melodic tone. "You will clean, but you will not touch him." "Understood," Ethan said, bowing slightly. She gestured toward the basin. "My pet Saru is resting. He does not like strangers. Finish quickly." Then she turned and walked out, her long robe leaving glowing trails behind her. When the door sealed shut, silence fell over the room, except for a faint wet sound like breathing underwater. Ethan swallowed. He set down his cleaning tools and began to work quietly. Every few minutes he glanced toward the basin. Something inside it shifted, sending small ripples across the dark surface. Hours passed. The strange mist made his head heavy. He could almost hear whispers coming from the shadows. When Ethan finished scrubbing the crystal floor, he noticed something moving in the corner, a small trail of thick, oily fluid leading out of the basin. He followed it cautiously. That's when he saw it. The creature was crouched beside a vent, its body shimmering like liquid metal. It had no clear shape, only shifting limbs and dozens of eyes that opened and closed like blinking lights. It looked weak, its body trembling, parts of it flaking off like ash. Ethan froze. The alien guard's warning echoed in his head. "Do not touch the creature." But the thing looked like it was in pain. Its breathing was rough, and a low, sad sound came from it, almost like a cry. Ethan whispered, "Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you." He saw a bucket of cleaning water beside him, warm from the station's systems. Something in his heart told him what to do was stupid, but he couldn't just watch a creature suffer. He dipped a cloth into the warm water and slowly reached out. The creature shivered as the cloth touched its surface. For a moment, Ethan thought it would attack, but instead it relaxed. The black surface smoothed out, glowing faintly blue. "You're just dirty, huh?" he murmured. "Guess everyone needs a bath sometimes." He kept cleaning gently, wiping away the grime. The air smelled strange, like burning metal and rain. The creature's many eyes followed his hand, almost curious. Its breathing slowed, turning calm. Ethan smiled faintly. "There you go. All clean now." He stood up, wiping sweat from his forehead. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then suddenly the room's lights flickered. The air grew heavy. The dark liquid in the basin began to swirl on its own, forming strange patterns. Ethan looked back at the creature. It was standing upright now, taller than him, its shape more defined, almost humanoid. The glowing blue veins along its body pulsed like a heartbeat. Ethan stepped back, heart racing. "Okay, easy." "I didn't mean—" The creature tilted its head. A strange vibration filled the air like 1,000 voices whispering at once. Then it spoke. Its voice was deep, smooth, and carried an echo that made Ethan's skin crawl. "Why, did you touch me, human?" Ethan couldn't move. I wanted to help." The creature's eyes narrowed. "Help? No one helps a Thrixan slave." Its shadow stretched across the floor, wrapping around Ethan's feet. The air trembled. From outside, alarms began to ring. The guards were shouting something in alien tongue. Ethan looked into those glowing eyes and felt both fear and sadness. The creature stepped closer, lowering its voice to a whisper that burned in his mind. "You bathed me. Now you are bound." The alarms outside Lady Zura's chamber screamed like angry ghosts. Red lights flashed through the glass walls, turning the silver mist into rivers of blood-colored fog. Ethan Cole stood frozen, his hands still dripping with the black-blue liquid from the creature he had bathed. The thing, Saru, now loomed over him, half shadow, half light. Its many eyes blinked in slow rhythm, glowing like tiny stars trapped in darkness. He wanted to run. His body didn't listen, bound. The creature's voice echoed not through the air but inside his head. "You touched the sacred form. Now your essence is tied to mine." Ethan's voice shook. "I didn't mean to. I was just trying to help." Saru tilted its head as if confused by the word help. It stepped closer, its form melting and reshaping. Ethan could see reflections of himself moving inside its body, hundreds of distorted faces screaming silently. Then, without warning, Saru dissolved into a dark mist and vanished through the floor. The door to the chamber burst open. 2 Thrixan guards stormed in, weapons glowing green. Lady Zura followed, her elegant form now surrounded by a storm of shimmering energy. "What have you done, human?" she hissed. Ethan stumbled backward. "I just cleaned your pet. It was sick. You touched it?" Her voice cracked like thunder. "Foolish creature. That was not a pet. It was a soul guardian. You broke the sacred binding." Before he could reply, she raised her hand. A blue bolt of energy slammed into his chest, sending him crashing against the wall. His vision blurred, light swirling. He could barely hear her shouting orders to the guards. "Contain him. If the bond is real, the corruption has already begun." Ethan tried to speak but collapsed. The last thing he saw before darkness claimed him was Saru's shadow flickering on the ceiling, whispering something he couldn't understand. When he awoke, everything was silent. He was lying on a med bed inside a small quarantine room. The air smelled of disinfectant and fear. His chest ached, and when he looked down, glowing blue patterns crawled along his skin, thin lines like veins of light. A robotic voice spoke from the corner. "Subject 47 human, you are under observation for contamination." Ethan groaned. "What happened?" Before the machine could respond, a softer voice echoed through the intercom. "Lady Zura, you were unconscious for 7 hours," she said coldly. "My pet is missing. Do you understand what that means, human?" He swallowed. "I didn't mean any harm." "Harm?" She laughed bitterly. "You freed something that should never be free. Saru was created to protect Thrixan minds, but it rebelled once, killed thousands. I caged it to keep it silent. Your touch woke its hunger again." Ethan looked down at the glowing marks on his arms. "What is happening to me?" "The link," she said. "It is sharing its essence with you. If you dream, it will find you." Then her voice cut out. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard whispers, soft, endless whispers in a language that felt half familiar. He saw visions, cities made of glass, alien suns burning, and a shadow standing at the center. Saru, watching him. In one vision, he stood beside the creature in an endless black ocean. The stars above were dying, falling like snow. "Why me?" he asked. "Why did you choose me?" Saru's voice rolled like distant thunder. "You saw me. You did not fear me. You washed away the filth of 1,000 years. I am awake because of you." Ethan felt his heart pound. "Then why do you want to hurt me?" Saru's many eyes blinked slowly. "Because I must balance the bond. One life cleansed, one life claimed." Before Ethan could speak again, Saru's form stretched, wrapping around him. His vision filled with light. Ethan woke up screaming. The medbed alarms blared. Blue fire pulsed from his skin. The robotic sensors sparked, unable to scan him. The air smelled of ozone and burning circuits. Outside the window, Lady Zura stood watching, her face unreadable. She whispered something to a guard who quickly raised his weapon. "Please," Ethan shouted. "I don't know what's happening." Before anyone could act, the lights went out. The room filled with cold mist. From the ceiling, shadows dripped like liquid. The guards screamed as something invisible tore through the walls. The glass shattered. Saru appeared again, larger this time, its body glowing with symbols that matched the marks on Ethan's skin. "Stop," Ethan begged. "Don't hurt them!" Saru ignored him. "They will cage you as they caged me." Blue tendrils lashed out, knocking the guards unconscious. Lady Jura raised her hand, summoning a beam of light, but Saru deflected it effortlessly. The energy hit the wall, leaving a hole melted through the metal. "You will doom us all," Jura cried. Saru turned to her, voice calm and echoing. "You already did." Then it looked at Ethan. The creature's tone softened. "You cleansed me. Now I must cleanse you." It stepped forward, touching his forehead with a finger made of light. Ethan gasped as waves of energy rushed through him. Memories not his own, feelings that weren't human. He saw glimpses of alien wars, of Saru's imprisonment, of endless loneliness. He collapsed to his knees, clutching his head. "Stop, please," Saru whispered. "You will understand soon. The bond cannot be broken." When Ethan opened his eyes again, Saru was gone. The room was wrecked, lights flickering, alarms silent. Lady Jura was gone too, either fled or captured. The air shimmered with leftover energy. He stood shakily, staring at his reflection in the broken glass. His eyes glowed faintly blue. The marks on his skin pulsed with life, like a heartbeat not his own. He whispered to himself, "What am I becoming?" The room was silent until, deep inside his mind, Saru's voice returned, soft and certain. "Mine." The next morning, the station felt wrong. Hellion 9 was never quiet, usually filled with the hum of engines and the soft rhythm of machines. But now, it was too quiet. No voices, no movement. Even the air felt heavier, like it was holding its breath. Ethan Cole stood inside the ruined medroom, the lights flickering around him. The wall still bore scorch marks from Saru's energy surge. He hadn't slept. His skin still glowed faintly in places, pulsing with a rhythm that wasn't his own. He whispered, "Saru, are you still here?" Silence. But then, softly, like wind passing through wires, a voice replied inside his mind. "I am everywhere." Ethan stumbled back, heart racing. "Get out of my head." "You opened the bond," the voice said calmly. "Now I walk where you walk." Ethan grabbed his pack and ran out of the room. The corridor was dim, emergency lights blinking red. No guards, no aliens, just the sound of distant metal groaning. He made his way toward the lower maintenance deck, trying to find a shuttle pod. Maybe he could reach one of the human colonies nearby, explain what happened, or at least warn them. But every door he passed whispered faintly when he touched it. The panels glowed before he pressed them. The machine seemed to know him. "Saru," he muttered. "You're in the systems, aren't you?" A faint hum replied in his ears. "I see through their eyes now. I remember every path." "You freed me, Ethan Cole." He stopped walking. "I didn't free you. I made a mistake." "Mistakes shape destiny," Saru replied. "Do not fear what you have become." Ethan slammed his hand against the wall. "I'm not becoming anything. I'm human." For a second, the hallway lights flared blue, and an image flickered across the metal. Saru's shifting form, glowing like a reflection in water. "Human," the voice said softly. "You were kind when your kind should have run. Do you regret it now?" Ethan hesitated. He remembered the trembling creature in the corner, the way it had cried like something abandoned. "No," he said, "but I don't want to die because of it." The station trembled suddenly. Alarms began to echo again, deep and broken. Ethan ducked as a vent burst open beside him, releasing a wave of dark smoke. Not gas, but moving shadows. From within, Saru emerged, not fully physical but half-formed, like a ghost made of light. "Leave me alone," Ethan shouted. "I cannot," Saru said. "You are my vessel now." Ethan backed away, trembling. "What does that mean?" Saru's shape shimmered, forming a tall silhouette with faint human features. "When you touched me, our essences merged. I cannot exist in your world without your life to anchor me." "You're saying you're using me," Ethan said bitterly. "Feeding on me." "Sharing," Saru corrected. "You live." "I live," Ethan clenched his fists. "I didn't agree to this." Saru tilted its head. "You agreed when you cared." Those words hit deeper than any weapon. Ethan didn't reply. For a moment, the station lights dimmed again, as if the entire structure was listening to their argument. Ethan turned and ran. He had to reach the escape bay. Maybe if he got off this cursed station, the link would weaken. He didn't care if Saru called it destiny. He just wanted to be free. He sprinted through empty corridors, the echo of his boots following him like ghosts. As he passed a viewing window, he froze. Outside, the dying star burned dark red and something massive moved near it. A fleet. Dozens of alien ships shaped like glowing blades approached Helion 9. Thrixan reinforcements, he whispered. They're coming back. Saru's voice returned, sharper now. They come to destroy what they cannot control. Me and you. Ethan's throat went dry. Then we have to escape. Escape? You think they will let you leave? You carry my mark. To them you are already the enemy. The floor shuddered again. Explosion tremors echoed through the deck. Ethan ran faster, ducking as sparks rained from the ceiling. The smell of burning metal filled the air. He reached the cargo elevator, slamming his hand on the controls. The panel didn't respond until Saru whispered, "Let me help." The screen flickered, then the lift started moving. Ethan sighed, exhausted. "Why are you helping me now?" Saru's image appeared faintly in the reflection of the lift wall. "Because you helped me first." Ethan looked away, confused, angry, afraid, but also strangely calm. "You said we're bound. What happens if I die?" "Then I vanish with you," Saru said simply. "That is why I protect you." The words hung heavy in the air. Ethan didn't know whether to feel comforted or trapped. The lift stopped with a jolt. When the doors opened, the hangar stretched before him, massive, filled with fire and smoke. A damaged shuttle waited near the far end, its engine sparking. He ran toward it. Alarms wailed, the ship's AI shouting warnings in multiple languages. "Core failure in 3 minutes, evacuate." Behind him, a sharp voice rang out. "Stop!" Ethan turned. Lady Jura stood there, her robes torn, her face furious. Her energy blades flickered to life, glowing gold. "You will not leave, human," she hissed. "You carry the weapon that destroyed worlds." Ethan raised his hands. "I didn't ask for this." "Lies," she spat. "You think we don't know what you've become?" She raised her hand to strike. But before the energy bolt could hit, shadows burst from the walls. Saru's form exploded into being, wrapping around Ethan protectively. The beam hit Saru's shield and dissolved harmlessly. Jura stepped back, eyes wide. "Impossible!" Saru's voice rolled through the hangar like thunder. "You cannot cage what you do not understand," Jura screamed, launching another attack. But Saru's power surged outward, a pulse of blue light that threw her across the floor. Ethan stared at the destruction, heart pounding. "Saru, stop! Don't kill her!" Saru hesitated. "You command me now?" "No," Ethan said quietly. "I'm asking." The creature looked down at him, glowing eyes softening, the rage fading. Then slowly the energy around them dimmed, but before Ethan could speak again, the ship's alarm screamed louder. "Core critical, 2 minutes to detonation." Saru turned to him. "She will call the fleet. They will kill you. Let me take control." Ethan's eyes widened.
"Take control of what?"
Saru extended a hand. "Of you." The deck trembled beneath them, the final seconds ticking away. The explosion never came. The station Helion 9 shuddered like a wounded beast, alarms crying from every deck. But somehow the core didn't go critical. The flames froze in midair. The lights dimmed and every sound vanished, replaced by a single heartbeat echoing through the corridors. Ethan realized it wasn't the station's heartbeat. It was his, or maybe theirs. He gasped, clutching his chest as blue light pulsed through his veins. Saru stood beside him, half shadow, half fire, its glowing tendrils spreading across the floor like roots of living energy. "What did you do?" Ethan breathed. Saru's voice echoed softly. "I stopped the destruction. You are not ready to die." Before Ethan could respond, a sound broke the silence, the slow, sharp click of boots on metal. Lady Jura appeared from the smoke. Her golden armor cracked, her eyes burning with fury. Behind her marched a dozen Thrixan guards, their weapons charged and glowing. Her voice was low but deadly. "You've doomed us all, human. That creature should have stayed caged." Ethan raised his hands. "I didn't mean for any of this." "Please, silence," she roared. Her energy blade flared brighter, humming with alien power. "You are no longer human. You are infected by that abomination. You've brought corruption into sacred ground. Saru stepped forward, its form towering over her soldiers. You call me abomination, yet you made me. You chained me for centuries to serve your pride. Enough lies, Jura shouted. You killed our world's monster. Ethan looked between them, heart pounding. What are you talking about? Lady Jura pointed her weapon at Saru. That creature once guarded the Thrixan core worlds. But it turned on us. Entire cities burned under its madness. Saru's voice darkened. You used me to erase your enemies. When I refused to destroy the innocent, you called me broken. You sealed me in silence and told the stars I was evil. Ethan felt a wave of sadness from Saru, not anger, a deep sorrow that vibrated inside his bones. He could feel its truth. Jura, Ethan said quietly. What if he's right? Her expression flickered, a moment of doubt, then hardened. You don't understand our history. Humans are weak. You pity things that would devour you. She lifted her hand. Guards, kill him. Contain the entity. Ethan's blood ran cold. No, wait. The guards fired. Green plasma bolts filled the hangar. Ethan closed his eyes. But Saru moved faster. Its body expanded into a shimmering shield, the shots vanishing into blue mist. Then Saru lashed out, not in anger, in instinct. Tendrils of light swept through the air, disarming the soldiers effortlessly. Weapons melted, armor cracked, and bodies flew across the floor. Ethan shouted, "Stop! Don't kill them!" But Saru was beyond reason. The bond between them pulsed with burning emotion, not rage, but pain and fear. Each scream echoed through Ethan's mind until he couldn't tell which cries were real and which were his own. "Saru!" he yelled again. "They're not your enemies!" The creature froze. The light dimmed slightly. Slowly, its tendrils retracted, leaving behind only silence and smoke. Lady Jura rose weakly from the floor, blood glowing faintly in her veins. She looked at Ethan with disgust and sorrow. You've bonded with it. You don't even see it. It's rewriting you, thought by thought. Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. Maybe, or maybe it's showing me the truth. Truth? Jura laughed bitterly. It's using you. That is all. Saru turned its head toward her. If I used him, I would have left him hollow. Instead, he is whole. He feels what you fear. Empathy. Ethan could feel Saru's emotions bleeding into him. Grief, loss, betrayal. But also warmth, the faint spark of something human. The ground rumbled again. The station's AI spoke in a broken monotone. Alert. Reactor breach spreading. Self-destruct in 10 minutes. Jura's eyes widened. You stopped one explosion, but you can't stop this. The main core is collapsing. Saru's light flared. Then we leave. Together. Ethan nodded, desperate. There's still a shuttle, come on. But Jura stepped in front of them, raising her blade once more. You think I'll let that creature escape into the galaxy again? Never. Don't do this, Ethan pleaded. You'll die here. Better I die than unleash another war, she hissed. The hangar shook violently. Pieces of the ceiling fell, sparks raining like burning stars. Ethan could barely hear his own voice over the chaos. Saru, please, and there has to be another way. Saru's eyes flickered, turning soft, almost human. You wish to save her too, don't you? Ethan nodded. No one has to die. Lady Jura stared at him in disbelief. You would save me? After what I tried to do? Ethan managed a weak smile. That's what humans do. For a brief second, everything went still. Even the alarms seemed to pause. Saru's body shimmered, forming a protective cocoon of light around all three of them. Blue energy surged outward, and the world dissolved into silence. When Ethan opened his eyes, they were floating above the dying station. The wreck of Helion 9 burned below, fragments spinning into the void. The shuttle's autopilot had activated. Or maybe Saru had done it. Lady Jura lay unconscious beside him, still breathing. Is she safe? Ethan asked. Yes, Saru replied. You wanted mercy. I obeyed. Ethan looked out the window. watching the Thrixan fleet move toward them like a storm of silver knives. "They'll never let us go." Saru's voice was calm. "Then we run, human." Ethan nodded slowly, feeling the ship accelerate into the black. The stars stretched into long white lines. His reflection in the glass showed his eyes, now glowing faintly blue. "What am I becoming?" he whispered. Saru's answer was quiet, almost kind. "Something new." The stars vanished into darkness. The stars stretched into white ribbons as the small shuttle fled the burning wreck of Helion 9. The station exploded behind them, lighting the void with blue fire. Inside the cockpit, alarms flashed red. The navigation system screamed warnings in both human and Thrixan languages. Ethan Cole gripped the controls tightly, his knuckles white. Sweat ran down his neck as he tried to steady the shaking ship. "Come on, stay with me," he muttered. The shuttle's engine coughed like a dying animal. Sparks burst from a nearby panel. The ship was barely holding together. Saru's voice echoed inside his mind, calm but distant. "We are leaving their territory. The Thrixan fleet is regrouping." Ethan's breath came heavy. "Can they track us?" "Yes." Ethan slammed his hand against the console. "Then we're dead." "Not yet," Saru said softly. "You have me." He looked at the reflection on the cracked screen, his own face glowing faintly blue, veins of light running up his arms. "Yeah," he whispered. "I noticed." Behind him, Lady Jura stirred. She groaned and sat up, pressing her hand to her temple. The golden symbols on her skin flickered weakly. "You saved me," she said in disbelief. "Why?" Ethan didn't turn around. "Because I'm not like you." Her eyes narrowed. "You think mercy will save you? The fleet will hunt you to the edges of the galaxy." Ethan sighed. "Then I'll keep running." Jura looked around the cockpit, then at him. "You and that creature are linked. Every second it consumes more of you." Saru's voice rippled through the air, though its body was nowhere to be seen. "Consume? No. We are blending, like two rivers meeting." Jura hissed. "You lie as always, monster." Ethan raised a hand. "Enough. Both of you." He felt Saru's emotions inside his head. Waves of sadness, loneliness, confusion. It didn't feel evil. It felt lost. "Saru," Ethan said quietly, "I need to know. What happens if this bond keeps growing?" "You and I will become one," Saru replied. "No pain, no fear, a single will eternal." Jura's voice cut in sharply. "That means your mind will die, human. You'll be nothing but its echo." Ethan's stomach turned cold. "Is that true?" Saru paused. "You will change, but death? No." "Transformation." Ethan shook his head. "I'm not ready to lose myself." "Then control the link," Saru said, "or it will control you." The ship suddenly jolted. Outside, a bright flash lit the darkness. A pursuing Thrixan cruiser had locked on. "Missiles incoming!" the autopilot screamed. Ethan pulled the controls hard to the left. The small shuttle spun violently, dodging one blast, but the second hit the rear thrusters. The ship tumbled, flames flickering along its wings. Jura shouted, "We won't survive another hit." "Saru," Ethan yelled. "Can you do something?" "Yes," the voice said simply. The walls of the shuttle glowed. Blue veins spread through the metal like living light. Ethan felt his heartbeat sync with it. The wrecked thruster came alive, its engines roaring back stronger than before. Azura gasped. "You're merging it with the ship?" Ethan didn't answer. His eyes glowed brighter. His hands no longer felt the cold metal, only warmth, power, and strange calm. The shuttle shot forward like lightning, vanishing from the cruiser's scanners. They escaped into a dead zone, a region of empty space with no stars, no signals. Only silence and a faint gray mist. Ethan finally released the controls. His body trembled. The glow faded from his skin. He whispered, "That was too close." Jura studied him. You can't keep using its power. The more you rely on it, the more it will take. He looked up at her, exhausted. Maybe, but without it, we'd both be dead. She turned away. Humans always think power is a gift. It never is. For a while, no one spoke. The only sound was the hum of the ship's weak engines. Then Saru's voice broke the silence again, softer now, almost like a whisper of wind. Ethan Cole. Why do you fight me? Ethan stared at the stars ahead. Because I don't want to lose who I am. But you are more than what you were, Saru said. You see through my eyes. You feel what I feel. Ethan clenched his fists. That's what scares me. Saru didn't reply, but Ethan felt something deep in his mind. Sorrow, regret, and an emotion he didn't expect. It felt like love. He turned to Jura, confused. Can it feel? Jura's expression softened for a brief second. It wasn't born a weapon, human. It was made into one. The ship beeped suddenly, breaking the moment. A red light blinked on the radar. Multiple signals approaching, Ethan said. How did they find us? Jura frowned. They're tracking the energy bond, the connection between you and it. They can smell it across space. Ethan cursed under his breath. Then I'll end it. He stood up, shaking. Saru, tell me how to break the link. For a long moment, the voice said nothing. Then softly, you can't. The link is life. To sever it is to end us both. Ethan looked at Jura, his face pale. So it's either both of us live or both die. Jura nodded. Yes, that is the curse of your kindness. The radar beeped faster. The fleet was closing in. Ethan sat back, gripping the controls again. Then we run until we find another way. Saru's tone was steady, calm. There is no other way. Ethan's eyes narrowed. There's always another way. He pushed the thrusters to maximum. The stars blurred into streaks again. But as they fled into the black, Saru whispered one last line, not to threaten but to warn. Every bond must balance, human. To save yourself, something must be taken in return. Ethan didn't answer. He only stared ahead as the stars vanished around them, unaware that the change inside him had already begun. The shuttle drifted through endless darkness. No stars, no planets, only silence. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Ethan Cole sat at the controls, staring blankly into the void. His reflection in the glass no longer looked fully human. The faint blue veins beneath his skin pulsed slowly, matching the hum of the ship. Every beat, every breath, in rhythm with Saru. Lady Jura sat across from him, her armor cracked, her golden eyes dim. You're changing faster now, she said quietly. Ethan didn't look at her. I can feel it. He's inside everything. The ship, my blood, even my thoughts. Saru's voice echoed softly in his mind. We are one step from completion. Ethan shut his eyes. Completion? Or control? There was no answer, only the deep sound of the ship's heartbeat. Hours passed. Ethan tried to rest, but sleep brought visions. Alien cities burning, oceans of crystal shattered by war, and Saru standing alone, surrounded by light and sorrow. When he woke, his eyes glowed brighter. The line between dream and memory was gone. Lady Jura watched him silently. You saw it, didn't you? He nodded. Saru's past. The wars, the betrayal, she looked away. Then you know why it must die. Ethan's jaw tightened. It was used. Tortured. You turned it into a weapon and then called it a monster. Jura's voice broke for the first time. It became one. I was there, human. I saw it consume our minds, twist our thoughts. Entire worlds fell because it couldn't control its hunger for freedom. Saru's voice filled the cabin, soft but sharp. Freedom is not hunger. You made me crave what you denied. Choice. Ethan felt Saru's pain pierce through him. Every emotion, every memory. It wasn't just a story anymore. It was his. He whispered, you were both victims. Of the same war. Jura stood up, trembling. No, it's lying to you. Every word it speaks bends reality. The bond must be broken before it's too late, Ethan frowned. How? She reached into her armor and pulled out a small crystal sphere, glowing gold. This is a neural disruptor. It severs psychic links. If I use it, it will kill the creature and maybe save you. Saru's presence darkened. The lights flickered. If she activates it, your mind will shatter with mine. Ethan stood between them.
Stop, both of you.
The ship suddenly shook. Alarms screamed as a distortion opened ahead, a gravity rift, swirling with blue energy. The Thrixan fleet had found them, their ships dropping from hyperspace like falling stars. Jura stared at the scanner. They've locked onto us. They're going to destroy everything. Saru's voice rumbled. They fear what they cannot control. Again. Ethan took the controls. Then we'll fight our way out. Fight? Jura said. With what? You have one dying shuttle. He grinned faintly. I have something better. He placed his hand on the console. The ship's metal glowed under his touch. Saru's light spread across every surface, turning cold steel into living matter. The shuttle transformed, wings unfolding like blades, energy shields rippling to life. Jura gasped. You've merged with it completely. Ethan's voice echoed with two tones, his and Saru's together. We're not running anymore. The first enemy ship fired. Plasma bolts cut through the darkness, but the newly born vessel moved like a living creature. Twisting, folding, dodging every shot. Ethan felt every movement like muscle and bone. The stars blurred as he dove between ships, firing bursts of blue energy that tore through Thrixan hulls. Jura held onto the wall, shouting, You're not piloting, you're becoming the ship. Ethan's face was calm, almost peaceful. Maybe this is what I was meant for. Saru's voice merged with his own. This is unity. Not slavery. Not control. They moved as one, cutting through the fleet like a storm. But each attack drained Ethan. His veins flared with light and pain seared through his body. Ethan, Jura shouted. You can't hold it. It's too much. He gritted his teeth. I can. Just a little longer. The Thrixans regrouped, forming a circle. Dozens of ships aimed their weapons at once. Jura's eyes widened. They're preparing a final strike. Ethan tried to pull away, but the controls locked. Saru's energy surged uncontrollably. The ship's walls pulsed like a living heart. Saru, stop, he yelled. You'll kill us all. Saru's voice trembled. For the first time, it sounded afraid. They will destroy you. I cannot allow that. You're not protecting me, you're consuming me. Ethan cried. The blue light around him flared brighter, spreading through his skin. His body flickered between solid and transparent, half human, half energy. Jura reached for the crystal sphere. I can still save you. Ethan turned to her, eyes glowing like twin suns. Don't, please. She hesitated, tears filling her golden eyes. You're already gone, human. Before she could activate the device, the entire fleet fired. 1,000 energy beams struck the shuttle at once. But instead of breaking apart, the ship absorbed the blast. The explosion lit up the void like a newborn star. When the light faded, the Thrixan ships were gone, scattered. Their systems fried by the energy wave. Floating in silence was a single being, no longer fully human, no longer alien. A figure of light and shadow standing in the center of the cockpit. Jura opened her eyes weakly. Ethan? The glowing figure turned toward her. Its voice was calm, layered with both his and Saru's tones. I am still here. She stared in awe. What are you now? He smiled faintly. Something that shouldn't exist, but does. Outside, the stars bent gently around them as space healed from the battle. Ethan looked at his reflection in the glass, his body shimmering like living energy. He whispered, Saru, are you still with me? Always, the voice replied, warm now. But you are the one in control. For the first time, Ethan felt peace. Then, far in the distance, the scanners flickered. Hundreds of new signals approaching. Another fleet, Jura stood beside him. They're coming again. Ethan's eyes glowed brighter. Then it's time to end this. Not with war, but with truth. He reached forward, his hands passing through the console like light through water. The stars bent once more, opening a path through the void. A gate made of Saru's living energy. He smiled softly. Let's show them what freedom really means. And together they disappeared into the shining horizon. The stars glowed brighter than ever before. A silver sea of alien warships stretched across the horizon. The Thrixan fleet, a storm of blades and fire. Their leader's voice echoed through open space, cold and commanding. Ethan Cole, human anomaly. Surrender the entity or be erased. Inside the living ship, Ethan stood still, bathed in soft blue light. His form shimmered, not flesh, not metal, something between. The human heart still beat inside him, but now it pulsed with Saru's energy, ancient and infinite. Lady Jura stood behind him, pale and silent. She had seen armies fall, empires die, but never something like this. Ethan stared out the viewport, calm and unafraid. "Saru," he whispered, "they don't want peace." Saru's voice flowed gently through his mind. "Then we will show them peace, the way humans do." The Thrixan flagship sent another warning. "Deactivate the bond. Submit for judgment." Ethan smiled faintly. "They still think this is a weapon." Jura shook her head. "You can't win, human. Their fleet covers half the quadrant." Ethan's voice was quiet, steady. "I'm not here to win. I'm here to change something." He reached out and placed his glowing hand on the console. The ship responded like it was alive, its walls humming, lights pulsing. Outside, waves of blue light rippled from its hull, forming a sphere of calm energy around them. The alien fleet opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts crossed the void, but every beam dissolved harmlessly as it touched the barrier. Saru's voice grew louder, deeper, almost like music. "They cannot destroy what understands them." The Thrixan commander's voice returned, now full of fear. "What are you?" Ethan looked out into the storm of ships, his eyes glowing brighter than the stars. "Something you taught me to be," he said softly. "Human." The fleet paused. For a brief moment, no one moved. Jura whispered, "They won't stop, Ethan. They're terrified of what you represent." He turned toward her. His voice was gentle but firm. "Then let's show them what they've forgotten. Mercy." Before she could speak, Ethan lifted both hands. The blue sphere around the ship expanded outward like a breath, touching the first enemy vessel. Instead of destroying it, the wave passed through it, shutting down weapons, engines, and shields. One by one, the ships went silent. Their lights flickered, their systems froze, but none exploded. No one died. Jura watched in disbelief. "You're disarming them without killing?" Ethan nodded. Saru's power was never meant for war. It was meant to protect. Saru's voice joined his. "And you have reminded me what protection truly means." The two voices now spoke as one, human warmth and alien wisdom woven together. Inside the alien flagship, chaos broke out. Commanders shouted orders. Energy readings spiked off the charts. "What is he doing?" One officer screamed. The commander's eyes widened. "He's rewriting our systems. He's speaking to our machines." Indeed, through the fleet's network, a new signal spread. Not a virus, not a weapon, but a message. Simple, clear, undeniable. We were not made to destroy. Every ship received it. Every soldier felt it. Even the Thrixan commander lowered his weapon, trembling. For the first time they heard Saru's voice in their own minds, ancient and full of sorrow. "You feared me because I was strong. But strength without kindness is empty. The human who touched me reminded me of that." Ethan smiled faintly as the words echoed across the void. Jura stared at him, tears glinting in her golden eyes. "You've changed everything," she whispered. "Even they can feel it." Ethan turned to her, smiling softly. "No, we changed everything." But Saru's voice grew quieter now, almost fading. "The energy is spent. The link cannot hold much longer." Ethan's smile faltered. "What do you mean?" "Our fusion burns bright, but it cannot last forever. I was not meant to live freely. The balance must return." He felt his body growing lighter, his outline flickering. His human form was dissolving into streams of light. "No," he said softly. "We can control it." "We can—" "You already did," Saru interrupted gently. "You gave me what I lost, a choice. Now I give you what you lost. Peace." Jura stepped forward. "Ethan, stop! You'll disappear." He looked at her one last time. His eyes were calm, almost smiling. "If this is the price of freedom, it's worth it." Outside, the alien fleet hovered silently as the glowing ship rose higher. Its blue light spread through the darkness, brighter and brighter, until it looked like a new sun being born. Saru's voice filled the galaxy one final time. "Remember the human who bathed the monster and made it kind." The light burst, gentle, silent, and infinite. Then it was gone. The void returned to stillness. Days later, survivors from the Thrixan fleet drifted in orbit around what used to be the battle site. There was no wreckage, no weapon fragments, only a faint blue glow shimmering like dust across the stars. Lady Jura stood at the viewport of her ship, staring into that light. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Ethan Cole, human fool." She smiled sadly. "You did what none of us could." Her crew looked at her nervously. "What now, my lady?" She turned away from the window. "Now we remember, centuries passed. The war between species ended. A new alliance was born, one that spoke not of domination but understanding. And on every world, in every academy, in every tale told among the stars, one story remained: the human who bathed in alien monsters and taught the galaxy compassion. Somewhere beyond time, in a realm of light and silence, two voices lingered, Ethan's soft and human, Saru's deep and ancient. "Do you think they'll remember us?" Ethan asked. "They already do," Saru replied. "Every act of kindness whispers our names." Ethan laughed quietly. "Then I guess we did okay." The light shimmered, like a smile across eternity. And then, softly, the stars themselves seemed to answer, a heartbeat echoing through the universe carrying the legend of the new guardian.